Leaked official NASA and CIA documents reveal decades of high-level globalist preparations for a series of assassinations and false flags, designed to spark a manufactured civil war starting in, wait for it, 2025.
A document that actually is a PowerPoint presentation by Dennis Bushnell, the chief NASA scientist at the Langley Center. And it was presented in 2001, July of 2001, just a few months before 9/11. And what brought my attention to it and immediately rang some uncomfortable realizations was when we first came across it. It says on the website, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare circa 2025. And as I decided to just flip through it quickly to see what it was about, I was a little stunned on page 4. It said, the presentation is based in all cases upon existing data, trends, analysis technologies, no pixie dust.
And was this intentional? Did they want the public to see this, do you think? Or?
Well, again, the Illuminati, the most wealthy, rich men on the face of the planet, always telegraph everything that they're going to do. So the fact that it was on the NASA website, it was certainly available to the public, but did they see it? Obviously not. Because had they looked at this document, you would know about it right now.
Here's where it gets really disturbing. According to the documents, published just before 9/11, the plan to launch the Chaos in 2025 involves assassinating Americans on live TV for maximum public trauma. Sound familiar?
What it said, which was quite shocking, on page 93, it said, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. And that is an unbelievable statement. Then it's followed up by saying terror attacks within the continental United States using binary biologicals take down critical infrastructure. They are going to use an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse. They're going to use radiation frequencies against our brains, etc., and conduct serious psy-war and collateral damage and exploitation. On this same page 93, they say exploit CNN syndrome. Now, CNN, of course, is the network, the news media network.
The brutal fact is that Israel leads global assassinations over the last 5 years, accounting for 80% of the approximately 1,000 total cases worldwide. That's a verified fact. Go on and ask Grok. And if you don't believe they would dare to carry out assassinations on US soil, ask yourself why they've been involved behind the scenes in every mass casualty, even on US soil, in the last 50 years, including 9/11. Just ask Tucker Carlson, the very figure Charlie Kirk was beginning to mirror in his fearless pursuit of truth. And that, insiders say, is exactly what powerful forces were desperate to prevent.
No, of course I didn't allege that, the Jews did it. I don't even know what that means. I think, in fact, saying things like that is a way to discredit real questions.
Right.
Like, we know, Benjamin Netanyahu on camera right after said this is a good thing because it brings the United States into a conflict that we've been involved in on an existential level for decades. He said that out loud. I'm not guessing, you can pull the tape. We know that a group of Israeli art students, who clearly were not art students, clearly some of them were aligned with Israeli intelligence, were arrested and held for quite some time in the United States before being released without charges. And we know that a group of them, again, I'm quoting an FBI document here, not the internet, filmed the attacks on 9/11, and I'm quoting, seemed to have foreknowledge of those attacks. Now, you were not allowed to follow up in any of this. Fox News did a series with Britt Hume and Carl Cameron, which many people have seen in a bootleg version on the internet, but they did it like within weeks, saying, what is this? There was an Israeli spy ring in the United States, and they clearly knew 9/11 was coming. This is Fox News. They pulled that under pressure. They pulled that off the internet. It's not searchable in any Fox News archive, but they aired it. I know the people who did it. Of course, I worked with them for years. They're real people. They're not crazy. In fact, they're pro-Israel, but they had a fact set before them, and they reported it, which is called journalism, and subsequent generations have been forbidden from noting what is now factually true. Those are factually true statements. Now, we tried to interview some of those people. One lives in the United States, in California, and made no headway whatsoever. And we knew as we did it, by the way, that we're going to be attacked as anti-Semites or something.
Carlson understands how the system functions, but does he understand how deep the conspiracy goes? Jewish writer Jacob Cohen explains the saying: tens of thousands of civilian Jews around the world who spy for Israel, spread propaganda, and help Mossad.
The Sayanim are tens of thousands of people, Jews, Zionists, who are members probably of the Bnei Brit, for instance. Bnei Brit is the Jewish Masonry, who occupy high level in all the societies. I mean, you can imagine 5,000 Sayanim in New York, only in the business area. 5,000 Sayanim in Los Angeles, in the production area, in the artistic area. And you can, in France, in London, you can imagine 1,000 Sayanim in the medias. You can imagine, and they receive orders from the Mossad, from a department of the Mossad called the War Department. And they work for the Mossad. It means that all these people who have their work, who work normally, they are citizens. I mean, they work in a bank, they are political, they are publishers. But when the Mossad call them and tell them, look, I need an information. I need, for instance, I need that all the Sayanim in all over the world say that this person, for instance, the Secretary General of the United Nations, has said something anti-Semitic. And you see all over the world, in Europe, in New York, the medias, you have the impression, I mean, when I discovered that, I understood. I mean, it's like when you light the light on, you know, because suddenly you open a newspaper, you listen to a radio, you hear a politician, everybody says the Secretary General of the United States said something anti-Semitic. I mean, the poor guy, and why? Because the Mossad gave the order to do that. And I can say, for instance, the example of Gilad Shalit, you know, the Israeli soldier kidnapped by the Hamas. In 24 hours, his name was known all over the world. I mean, even if it was an American general who was kidnapped, his name would never have been mentioned. Gilad Shalit, in 24 hours, became a celebrity in the universe. And this is the work of the Sayanim.
Remember the private jet that took off from Provo Airfield straight after the attack with its radar illegally turned off? Take a look at who owns it. Just another coincidence in the on-air assassination that raises more questions than answers? And one that slots neatly into the long-promised globalist plan to destabilise the United States? You be the judge. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. We can't do it without you.